leaders from across the state. I'm Courtney Johnson Rose, honored to serve as chair of the board for our illustrious organization. I just want to welcome our leaders and thank you for joining us for April's Monday Morning Momentum. We are in the second quarter of the year. I cannot believe how fast it is going. We're in the business of making impact. So hopefully you all are seeing the impacts that you've made already in 2022, but it's time to pick up the pace because time is moving and it's moving fast. So excited to see our leaders. We're excited about today. We're hoping to be joined by Mr. Ted James, who is the Region 6 Administrator for SBA. But as we kick off, I do want to have our president do some opening comments and do a few announcements so that you all know what's going on around TAAACC. Mr. President, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Charles O'Neill.
All right, good morning, Madam Chair. Thank you. And first, before I do anything, I want to welcome Michelle Green Ford, the new CEO of Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce, joining us for the first time. Good to see you. Glad you're able to join us. And of course, welcome and good morning to everyone else on the call. As noted, this morning's call is kind of demonstrates the culmination of a lot of work that has gone on behind the scenes. You all know or aware of our long-standing relationship with the U.S. Black Chambers Incorporated. As a result of that relationship, that is TAAACC, was selected as one of the regional hubs to deliver the Community Navigator pilot program across the U.S. The USBC was one of 6 non-traditional organizations to be awarded this program. And we're very, very pleased that our statewide organization was selected to be one of 5 spokes to the big hub, which is USBC, but to function as a hub to support the work our chambers do across the state of Texas. We're all aware that Texas has long been a leader in the rate of business formation among African Americans, now in a state with the largest Black population, but we have not seen a corresponding utilization rate for federal contracting, statewide contracting, or in business receipts. And so we believe that the Community Navigator program gives us one more tool in the toolkit that allows us to support our ongoing advocacy while providing additional resources to the 25 Black chambers that are functioning in our state. And so we're really, really excited about having Mr. James with us this morning, newly appointed SBA Regional Director, for the message that it sends to our organization and the 25 member chambers across the state. We're working hard on your behalf, attempting again to bring the resources that will make your business, make your life easier in the work that you do on a daily basis. And so without further ado, I'll turn it back to you, Madam Chair. I know that we do have some announcements, and so I would encourage everybody that can to stay on the call following our 30 or 40 minutes we have with Mr. James. So thank you.
Just say good morning again to all of our leaders. We are excited about this appointee and the work that can be done under his leadership. So we want to give him a proper Texas welcome from the Texas Association of African American Chambers. So Mr. Ted James was recently appointed as Region 6 Administrator for the SBA. Mr. James will oversee SBA programs, offices, and operations in the SBA South Central region, serving Arkansas, Louisiana, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and us here in Texas. Mr. James' passion for leadership is driven by a deeply held desire to impact the lives of others while transforming his community. He's a native of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He was taught at an early age the value of service, the strength of community and the importance of a quality education and the principles of social justice. Mr. James earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in accounting from the Southern University A&M College and obtained his Juris Doctorate with honors from the Southern University Law Center. In November 2011, Mr. James was elected to serve as state representative for Louisiana 101 House District and immediately emerged as a leader in the legislature. During his 3 terms in the Louisiana House of Representatives, he served as chairman of the Administration of Criminal Justice Committee and chairman of the Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus. Outside of the Louisiana State Legislature, Mr. James is an attorney and a past director of the Baton Rouge office of the Urban League of Louisiana. So we are so proud to welcome you. I think you've been on the job, sir, less than 6 weeks. And when Mr. President and I had the opportunity to meet you a couple of weeks ago, you shared that you wanted to talk directly to the Texas Black Chamber leaders, and you wanted to do that quickly. So hopefully we have delivered. You have leaders from all over the state representing Black chambers and Black businesses. So it's our honor to welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson Rose. Mr. O'Neill, I did ask that we convene in short order, and you all have delivered on that. And thank you to each one of you. I apologize for the technical difficulties, but it is an honor to join and address the Texas Association of African American Chambers of Commerce. I will tell you that Ms. Johnson Rose talked about, she mentioned some things in my bio, but I will tell you that, and I mentioned this when we chatted when I was in Houston. I don't know how many of you have ever met a regional administrator of the SBA or even knew that the SBA had a regional administrator. And I've served in the state legislature in Louisiana for a decade. And unfortunately for me, and unfortunately for my constituents, I never met the past SBA regional administrators. And, I say unfortunate for me and my constituents because there are so many different resources available at the SBA that I could have educated the business owners, the business leaders, the aspiring entrepreneurs about SBA programs. Within Region 6, I do have 5 states. In those 5 states, we have 10 offices, 1 in Louisiana, 1 in Oklahoma, 1 in Arkansas, 1 in New Mexico, and we have 6 throughout the state of Texas: Houston, Dallas, El Paso, San Antonio, Lower Rio Grande Valley, and West Texas. It's in Lubbock, but they don't like to be called Lubbock. They want to be called the West Texas office. And through that network, we, of course, partner with various associations, the small business development centers. We have 2 networks across the state of Texas, and they are connected to universities all throughout your state. We also have women's business centers. We have SCORE chapters, as well as veteran outreach centers. The SBA is in the process of expanding our footprint of women's business centers. For the first time in the history of the SBA, we have a women's business center in every state in the country, and we are continuing to grow. We are continuing to grow with a specific target of equity, and we put out an RFP earlier this year for minority serving institutions to apply to host a women's business center. A few weeks ago, I was in Tulsa, the site of the Tulsa Race Massacre, opening a women's business center. My first week on the job, I was at Jackson State University, opening a women's business center. And we have another one that will be open this week at Alcorn in Mississippi. So we are expanding our footprint at our HBCUs. And I know many of you are probably graduates of Texas Southern or Prairie View. I won't hold that against you. I know everybody couldn't be a Jaguar, but outside of when we meet on the football field, we are family, and we are facing the same challenges. We're educating the same students, and we are preparing them and giving them the tools to enter into the same world. Outside of just that, I will tell you some specific things about what I seek to do as your regional administrator. First and foremost, I want to be able to give you information. And that is something that I feel like has been missing. I tell that to my folks at SBA all the time. Some of them, they get upset about it, but the fact that I'm spending so much time telling folks, well, you have an SBA office in your neighborhood, you have an SBA office in your state, you have a SBDC at your alma mater, that means that we haven't done a good enough job doing outreach. And I know a lot of that is because the federal government doesn't give us money for marketing. So it is very hard for us to get the word out. So that's why I want to meet with you, the chamber leaders, because you have a direct pulse on the ground. Last year, the SBA, we had a $150 million pilot program called the Community Navigator Pilot Program, that your organization is a recipient of some of those grant dollars. And what we have done is empowered businesses, nonprofits, different organizations that have the relationships with those folks on the ground that can help us spread the message to the smallest of small businesses. Now, I look at SBA in 3 different tiers. Number one, the counseling component, right? When I talked about the small business development centers, the women's business centers, the veteran outreach centers, that is what I will describe as your first line of defense. You want to open a business, you are very new to business, you go there, they can help you with business plans, they can help you with funding for your website, they can help you with QuickBooks, they can help you with, these are the certifications that the SBA has for you to go out there and try to get for your business. If you are a veteran, a service disabled veteran, if you're in a hub zone, we have a lot of hub zones in the state of Texas. If you are woman-owned business, a minority-owned business, there are different certifications that are different in the federal government. I know we talk about DBEs a lot. The federal government, we don't look for DBE certifications. We look for an SBA disadvantaged business certification, or a WOSB if you're a woman-owned, or if you are so blessed to be in the SBA 8A program, which I will talk to you all about. You go to those counseling centers, you reach out to the district office, they can educate you and help you depending where you are in your business journey. The second phase is the access to capital piece. And I firmly believe that there's not a single problem in the Black community that access to capital won't solve. The problem is we have an information gap that I am seeking to minimize by getting that information to you. And then, quite honestly, we have a capital gap because our folks have traditionally been left out of traditional financing at some of our major banks. What we do at the SBA does not direct lend money outside of disasters, right? We have disasters that we are working presently right now in the state of Texas from the tornadoes a few weeks ago. Outside of disaster assistance, we do not direct lend money. The SBA has partner financial institutions that are certified as SBA lenders. So we have various different loans. We have a 7A loan that's usually for startups. Those of you that are very early in your business journey, we have a 504 loan that's usually helps folks that are in real estate. It helps you buy property. It helps you buy machinery and equipment, and it can take you from, point A to, I believe, point D, E, and F. And then the third and most important piece that I look at, the third tier, is access to contracts. We are working extremely hard to make sure that small disadvantaged businesses have access to contracts. The president on last year signed an executive order that almost doubles the percentage of contracts that federal agencies should be granting to small disadvantaged businesses. Now, as many of you may know about our 8A program, that is a business development program run by the SBA, where small businesses have an opportunity to be in this business development program, and they get the benefit of sole source contracts, and they also get the benefit of competing with other 8A firms to get some of those contracts. We have several different other certifications that SBA offices are working with federal government to make sure that our minority and small-owned businesses have an opportunity. But I'm also working with local leaders. As a former state legislator, I know that many mayors, Many state agencies are also looking at how they improve their equity numbers. So we are being very aggressive with reaching out to those individuals as well, especially with the bipartisan infrastructure law that was passed. You all in the state of Texas, you are going to benefit tremendously from the bridges that will be built, the roads that will be built. We are expanding broadband. We know that, and if the last 2 years didn't teach you, you have to have reliable access to internet to be in business in 2022, period. There's no debate about it. We have another grant program, I think that the states will be announced in the next 4 or 5 days, where we put out opportunities for states to compete for SBA resources to help with businesses scaling up against cybersecurity attacks. Of course, we know how important access to broadband is, and then you have to have, your systems have to be secure. We are also working with the expansion of EV stations along federal highways. So if you know a minority-owned business that can help and scale up and place those EV stations for electric vehicles along the highways in Texas, Louisiana, there are a lot of opportunities there that some will be let out by the federal government, but a lot of those opportunities will be state opportunities. One of the other things that I'm telling legislators across my region is, if your state does not have a process by which they are going to expend the dollars from the bipartisan infrastructure law, you should be fighting for those things. Every Black caucus should be making sure that there's some type of process, that they have a seat at the table, and that there's an equity component into how they're going to spend those dollars, because it is billions going to the state of Texas. I wish I had the numbers that I can share with you all, but I will tell you, in Dallas-Fort Worth last year, with SBA resources, Dallas-Fort Worth got about $40 billion in SBA resources, be it PPP, COVID idle, restaurant revitalization, shuttered venue grants. And we also have an announcement that we are working on right now for those individuals that received an idle loan from the SBA. They are eligible for an additional $25,000. We're ramping up the outreach to let individuals know that they can request and receive an additional $25,000. Now, I know you will hear a lot, because I hear it from some of your members, like the grant opportunities are great. I mean, the loan opportunities are great, but let's talk about the opportunities for grants. Unfortunately, we had a piece of the Build Back Better plan that is stalled in Congress that would have allowed SBA to do more in terms of grants and direct lending. But the goodwill of the United States Congress has not put that into motion yet, and it is stalled, like many good ideas are. So that is put on hold. I am actually headed to Houston this evening to attend a Mid-America Lenders Conference. One of the things that I'm doing is really aggressively going after lending institutions to say, hey, banks had a very good year last year because of a lot of the COVID relief programs. There was an article in the Washington Post last week that talked about just the difficulty of small businesses obtaining capital from the big banks. We are looking at all type of lending institutions to say, hey, please join or become an SBA lender. We are providing trainings for banks. We're scheduling a statewide SBA training for the Texas Banking Association, so they can see all of the different SBA programs, and then they can sign up for individual training. Some banks have SBA programs, right? In the Houston area, there's a bank called B1 in Louisiana that just purchased a bank in Houston, and the name is escaping me now. But B1 is by far our best SBA partner. They understand SBA lending products. They work extremely well with the community, and they work with neighboring credit unions to say, hey, you may not qualify for one of the bank's loans, but we know these credit unions that offer smaller dollar loans. One of the things that I'm really working on is to increase our micro lending the SBA has a micro loan that is from 0 to 50,000. I see that as the type of financing that the smallest of small businesses need, right? You want to upgrade your salon, you want to get a food truck, you want to get another food truck, you want to build a patio because you've learned that with the pandemic that outside dining is a necessity. If you want to get another dump truck and you need to do some maintenance, those are the type of loans that a lot of small businesses need. And right now the banking community has been reluctant to do those, of course, because the smaller the loan, the smaller the profit. So we are really trying to ramp up those efforts. And then I think just most importantly, I want to be a resource to you all. If there's a conference, include myself or someone from the SBA office. If you have members that have issues, depending on where you are in Texas, I can connect you with our folks in the district office to make sure that they are having their questions answered regarding COVID EIDL. We also have a lender match portfolio on our website that you can go by county and you see the different banks. And we also have public servants in the SBA offices that can help you. Our offices are set up. Every district office has a district director, a deputy district director, and then we have lender relations specialists, business opportunity specialists, and then economic development specialists. Now, of course, those lenders work with banks. They can tell you which lending institution has SBA products. They can tell you which one is out there. Our business opportunity, they work with our firms on certifications. They help to identify contracting opportunities. And then economic development specialists, of course, they kind of cover everything. They work with, they help me in reaching out to lending institutions. They work with our resource partners and, really just try to advance some of our products. So, I know there's a lot of information that I dumped on you all. And I will, pause. And if you guys have some questions, I'll try to answer your questions if you have them.
Director, we thank you so much. I have a page full of notes of all of the.
I'm sure. Yeah.
All of the information that you shared with us. We're excited about it and excited that you mentioned access to capital. That is one of the key points that we're pushing for our members, and we know that for businesses to scale and grow, how critical that is. So thank you, sir, for your focus on that. I do want to be a good steward of your time, but if we have any questions or comments from any of our chamber leaders, I would like to open up the floor for that opportunity.
I have a question. Can you hear me? This is Greg McElroy.
Yes, sir.
I can hear you.
Thank you so much for the information. That was extraordinarily informative. Is there a contact email, or how can we click you, catch up with you?
I will put it in. I'll put it in the chat while we're talking, and I would also tell you all to visit the SBA website and go to the specific page for the district office and sign up for email alerts. We are doing programs, weekly. I am on a Zoom weekly with my folks in my district offices, and they're having access to capital webinars. They're having Get Certified days. We also, some of our offices have like SBA mobile office where they'll get out and give information to make sure that you know about what's happening at the SBA.
Excellent, excellent. One thing I want to do really quickly, just so that you will know where everyone's from in the chamber that they're representing. If our leaders could just come off of mute quickly and just kind of shout out.
Oh yeah, that'd be perfect.
That way you can, if there's a direct city that you need to connect in with, you will know who we have. Let's start with Ms. Ford, first on our screen.
Great, good morning, and thanks so much for that informative presentation. Definitely information we need. I'm Michelle Green Ford, and I'm the president and CEO of the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber.
Thank you so much. Next on my screen is Ms. Graham.
Good morning. My name is Coretta Graham, President, CEO of the Corpus Christi Black Chamber of Commerce. Apologize for being late. I was set for a jury trial this morning, but I got reset. Thank God.
Thank
Because I
you for
did
your
not want to
service.
go to trial a Holy Week. I was like, no trials tonight.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Next on my list, I can't tell whose phone it is, but KM, is that Kerry, Mr. Gorey?
Yes, this is Kerry Gorey from Denton. I'm the chairman of the board. Enjoy the presentation, Mr. James. I just want you to be careful when you say SWAC and you didn't say Grambling State University. We're kind of sensitive about that. But I really enjoyed the presentation. You may know my nephew, Ahmad Gorey, down in Dallas, but really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Look, Ahmad is one of the, and I'm not just saying it because he's your nephew, but he is one of the shining stars. I got a communications person that's going on leave, and I asked him if he'd be willing to step up. So he's definitely one that is doing the work. And you know, next time I will mention Grambling. I am actually the commencement speaker for Grambling's graduation this year. So I bought a brand new blue and gold robe for Grambling. So
tell President Gallo tell President Gallo we said hi. We appreciate you.
I will. I served with him in the legislature. You guys
right.
got a good champion and a leader up there.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Next on my screen is Abdul. May not be there. Let me keep moving.
Well, Abdul's his audio is not working, but he is chair of the Greater Southwest Black Chamber of Commerce, which serves the southern Dallas counties, Lancaster, DeSoto, Cedar Hill, southern Dallas.
Thank you for that, Matt. Andrea Cooksey. Madam Cooksey. She may not be able to come off mute, but she serves the Acres Home Black Chamber. Miss Carol Guest.
I know Carol.
Ed, good to see you.
Good morning.
Good seeing you a couple of weeks ago. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Greater Houston Black Chamber.
Andrea Miller.
Well, good morning, and thank you very much, Mr. James, for that very, very important information. I am Andrea Bell Miller, and I am president of the Prairie View City Chamber of Commerce here in the great town of Prairie View, Texas, home of the mighty, mighty Panthers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Clifford Freeney. Brother Cliff. Okay, we'll keep moving. Mr. Mooney.
Let me come off. Good morning there, sir. I'm Don Mooney. I'm a business owner, Don L. Mooney Enterprises, DBA Nurses, etc. Staffing. It's an honor to meet you this morning.
Good to meet you, brother.
Thank you. Our Vice Chair, Mr. Matt Houston.
Good morning, Matt Houston. I live in Dallas, Texas. I serve as vice chair of the TAAACC, but I'm former chair and former president of the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. Excellent. Ms. Kristen O'Neill, our consultant.
How you doing? Kristen O'Neill, consultant with Strategic.
Good to see you.
And last but not least, Mr. Harrison Blair.
Morning, everybody. I'm Harrison Blair, president of the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce, and I'm blessed to have a chairman and two presidents who led the chamber here with us today. So shout out to Mr. O'Neill and Mr. Houston. Thank y'all.
And for the record, we're two chairmen and two presidents.
All right.
Dallas is in the house. Okay.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you, sir. I think I had the opportunity for everyone to actually speak, but just know that we appreciate you. The Texas Association of African American Chambers are with you. We are behind you 100%. Use us as a resource. We certainly appreciate you taking the time, and I'll ask our president just to close us out with any final greetings to you.
Let me say one more thing, Ms. Johnson Rose. If you can compile a and maybe I could send it to you, but what I can do is the unfortunate thing about our SBA listservs for the regional offices, I mean the district offices, you have to actually go and subscribe to get the emails, right? In a perfect world, I could just say, give me all your email addresses and we can make sure that you get it. That's just not the way the federal government operates. So I would really stress to go and sign up for those emails. But what I would do is get my communications person, if I get your email, to try to start sending you out some information as we are, sending out press releases almost daily, if not, a couple times a day. For you all in Dallas, I will be in Dallas. I have to come to Dallas the first weekend in June. We have a couple of events out, not SBA events. Some of my fraternity brothers are doing something in Dallas, June 3rd through the 5th. So I'm already in town. So if there's something that you guys want to put together, either Friday afternoon or Saturday morning. I think the event Saturday starts at like noon. So if we did something Saturday morning, we might be able to get something on the books while I'm in town. And I would just stress, if you guys have some big events, to let me know in at least a couple of weeks in advance, and I can try to make sure that I'm there for that. And what I'll do is other trips to Texas, I'll make sure that we connect with the appropriate chapters in the areas that I plan to visit.
Excellent. We certainly appreciate how
No problem.
accessible you are. Mr. President.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you so much again, Mr. James. We really, really, really appreciate that. Let you know that we have created a navigator@taaacc.org email address. That may be the most efficient way that we can get all the emails and then blast them out to our membership.
Okay.
One of the things that I really want to highlight is the fact that this iteration of the Navigator program is a pilot. And what we're attempting to do is plug all the gaps that prior programs have not absolutely addressed. And that is very specifically, in our case, for Black-owned businesses. And so it just, man, it's off the charts what your presence means inside the organization. So we really, really appreciate that. Access to capital continues to be a problem when banks don't understand the unique challenges that Black-owned businesses face. SBDCs historically have not been the most useful to Black-owned businesses. And so, again, with your push from inside and clearly understanding what we're experiencing out here and have experienced historically, we think that we'll be able to move the needle and really make this program grow the legs and feet that it was intended to. So thank you. Thank you again for being accessible to us. We're going to call on you. We're going to call on you. No matter what fraternity you're in, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, I purposely didn't say because I didn't want to start nothing. But, I will say there's only one that was founded January 5th, 1911, but everybody else is cool. But on those small business development centers, if you all have issues, bring those to me, because we, of course, they're an official but unofficial arm. So I can't go in and fire people. I can't go in and take their budget. But, we can make life either easier or harder for them, right? If they're not, and especially under this administration, because Administrator Guzman is really, she says equity at least 4 or 5 times in every time that I've talked to her. So if we aren't seeing that from our resource partners, then we got a problem. So elevate those conversations to me as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you so much. We want to thank you for your time and safe travels.
Thank you.
As you travel today. Thank you again.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
Yes, sir.